Most business owners right now are asking the wrong question about AI. They're asking, is AI going to replace my job? That's the wrong question. The real question here is this: what happens to your business when your competitor figures out how to run their company with one third of the staff and 10 times the speed? Because that's already starting to happen. Now, before I get into the data and what the studies are saying, let me tell you why I'm even talking about this in the first place. I spent decades working inside systems. I started my career in New York City inside hospital, inside clinics, dealing with clinical data, operations, finance, patient flow, the whole machine. In a hospital or a clinic, if systems don't talk to each other, people don't just lose money. People get hurt. So you learn real fast that outcomes are not random. Outcomes are the result of systems running behind the scenes. Later, I moved to Houston and continued working in healthcare systems. And what I saw over and over again was the same pattern. When systems are fragmented, organization bleeds time, money, and everything trying to fix problems that should have never existed in the first place. Then I stepped into the world of entrepreneurship and I thought I was entering a completely different environment, but I wasn't. It was the same exact problem wearing different clothes. Businesses everywhere running ads that don't talk to CRMs, leads coming in with no follow up, sales pipelines disconnected from marketing, teams drowning on manual tasks that could have been automated years ago. I remember thinking to myself, I've seen this movie before because the same way hospitals eventually had to rebuild their infrastructure around connected systems, businesses are about to go through that same shift. Except this time, the catalyst is AI. And that's why this conversation matters right now. Because what's happening isn't just another technology trend, it's a structural shift in how companies operate. Let me give you a real story about AI and jobs because right now the internet is full of panic and half truth. You've probably seen those headlines saying AI is about to wipe out software engineers, analysts, marketers, customer service people. And then on another side, someone jumps in and says that the only safe job is being a plumber or an electrician. It sounds dramatic, I know, but the reality is more interesting than that. The truth is, AI is not replacing jobs the way people think. AI is replacing tasks. Most jobs are made up of dozens of small tasks: writing email, researching information, generating reports, answering questions, organizing data, debugging code. What AI is doing is taking over many of those small repeatable pieces. So the job itself doesn't disappear overnight. What changes is how much work one person can produce. One engineer with AI tools can now do the same work that used to take 3 or 4 engineers. One marketer with automation can produce the output of an entire marketing team. Trust me, I know. One support agent with AI can handle the workload of 5 people. So companies aren't firing everyone. They're just hiring fewer people. And that's where the real shift is happening right now. If you look closely at the labor data, something very specific is showing up. There's no massive wave of layoffs in the job that are most exposed to AI. But hiring for younger workers in those fields has dropped. That's the part people are missing. The entry level jobs are quietly disappearing. For decades, most professional careers had an apprenticeship stage. Junior programmers wrote basic code, junior analysts built spreadsheets, junior marketers wrote copy and scheduled campaigns. Those roles were training grounds. They were the way people learned the craft. But now AI can perform many of those beginner level tasks instantly. Instead of hiring 3 junior employees, companies can give a senior employee an AI tool and the output is basically the same or even better. So the layoffs aren't happening. The pipeline is shrinking. That's why younger workers are feeling the pressure first. Now, let's talk about another pattern that shows up in every study. The jobs most exposed to AI are not the lowest paying jobs. They're often the higher paying jobs, the higher paying white collar jobs, like programming, marketing analysts, financial analysts, technical support, customer service, data processing. Those are roles that rely heavily on structured knowledge work. So you're looking at patterns, writing text, summarizing information, processing data, answering questions. That happens to be exactly what large language models are good at. But jobs that require physical presence, manual skill, or human interaction are far less exposed right now. Electricians, mechanics, nurses, landscapers, construction workers, caregivers, barbers, stuff like that. Those roles involve unpredictable environments and real world physical work. That makes them harder for AI to automate. So when people say learn a trade, there's some truth there, but that's not the full story either, because the real transformation isn't about which jobs survive, it's about how businesses operate. And this is where I'm trying to make a point. Right now, we're in the first phase of AI adaptation. This phase is assistance. AI helps people write faster, code faster, research faster, answer questions faster. But the next phase is already starting to appear, right? The phase is automation. Instead of helping you do work, AI systems will start doing the work themselves. Think about how business operate today. A lead comes in, someone responds, someone schedules a call, someone sends a follow-up email, someone updates the CRM, someone processes the payment, someone onboards the customer. That's a lot of human coordination for something that happens over and over again. Now, imagine that entire chain handled automatically. A message comes in on Instagram, a chatbot qualifies the lead, the system books a call, the CRM updates, the email sequence begin, the payment link goes out, the onboarding workflow starts. No one has to touch it. That's what AI-driven systems are starting to do right now. And when businesses adopt that infrastructure, something interesting happens. The company doesn't need a giant team anymore. A small team running the right automation can produce the same output as much a larger team or organization that relies on manual work. That's the real economic shift happening under the surface. It's not about AI taking your job. It's about AI replacing inefficient systems. The companies that win in the next decade are the ones that rebuild their operations around automation. The companies that struggle will be the ones still trying to run a 21st century markets with 20th century workflows. And this is why entrepreneurs actually have a massive advantage right now. Large corporations, they move slowly. They have bureaucracy, layers of management, legacy systems, internal politics. Usually older people that are still thinking slow, lone wolf, and Microsoft Office. But small businesses can change direction faster. A founder can install new tools, automate processes, and redesign workflows in weeks instead of years, which means the next generation of companies will be built differently from the ground up. They won't be human-heavy organizations. They'll be system-driven organizations. Automation will handle the repetitive work. AI will assist decision-making. Small teams will manage systems that scale far beyond their size. So the real question is not whether AI will affect your industry. It will. The real question is whether you are going to use AI as a tool or compete against people who do. Because the real people who understand this shift early are going to build companies that look 10 times bigger than they actually are. The people who ignore it are going to feel like the entire market suddenly got faster, cheaper, and harder to compete with. So AI isn't replacing business. It's replacing outdated business models. It's replacing outdated money models. And the entrepreneurs who learn how to build AI-powered systems are going to define the next economy. Now, here's the part that matters for you right now. If you're running a business today, there's a very good chance you don't actually know where your operation is exposed to this type of shift. You may have good people, you may have solid products, you may even have decent marketing. But if your systems are still human heavy, disconnected, or slow, then somewhere in your business there's a leak. And leaks like that don't stay small when markets change. So here's what I want you to do. Send me a direct message, right? DM me the word money maps. Or if you're on YouTube or somewhere, you could click on the link and you could connect with me there. And when you do, we'll start a conversation about where your business actually sits in this new landscape. We'll look at how your leads move through your system, where your followers break down, where automation could multiply your output, and where your current model might be bleeding opportunity. We'll stop that leak because the companies that adopt this shift early are going to dominate their markets. And the companies that wait until the pressure becomes obvious usually realize they're already behind. So if you want to understand where your business stands right now, again, DM me the words money maps or click on the link and let's schedule a call. Let's get this conversation going.